So if you clicked on this video, it's probably because you're not reading as much as you would like and you want to change that. And one interesting thought is, what if reading was equally addictive as social media, video games, or even porn, or whatever bad habit you have? Well, it is actually possible, and in this video, I'm going to explain to you how you can do that. So there are 3 things that you must do, and it's very important that you do the 3 of them, or otherwise this is not gonna work. So number 1 is to read things you like, and more importantly, ignore the rest. Because when it comes to reading, there's 2 components to it. Number 1 is the medium, and number 2 is the content. The medium, basically what it means are the letters on a page. Like you have words on a piece of paper and you're moving your eyes to read those words. And then the content is what is actually being conveyed through that medium, through the book. So if you're reading a biography, for example, the content is the story itself of that person. Now, the problem is that a lot of people cannot fall in love with the medium itself, which is reading. They don't like it because the content that they're consuming is just garbage. And what I mean by garbage is not that the content might be inherently bad. It's just that it's something that you just do not care about. Yes, it might be some book that it would be nice to read and maybe it would teach you a lot of things, but deep down you're truly not interested in reading it. You just want to read it because someone else said so. So if you read things that you don't like, obviously you're not gonna like reading. And if you think about these things that I mentioned before, like social media, video games, porn, one of the reasons why they're so addictive, there's a lot of reasons, but one of them within the context of this video and this thing that I just presented to you, it is so customized and tailored to the things that you like, algorithmically designed for you to love it and get hooked to it. And because you find that content so interesting, that's how you get hooked to the medium, which for example with social media is just like scrolling on your phone. Yes, for sure, the medium is also adapted to how we humans psychologically function, and it's very easy for us to consume. But if the content was not tailored to you so accurately, it would be impossible for you to get hooked. This is something that you can easily verify by yourself. If you grab your friend's phone or a family member or whatever, and you go through their recommendations on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, if they have different interests and hobbies than you will see that there's a lot of recommendations that you're just not interested in them, and you will not feel that urge on clicking on those things. So even though that the medium is perfect, because the content is not, it's not gonna feel the same way. So you will not feel those impulses like this super interesting video, let me click on it and watch it. So what we can learn from this is that you have to do the exact same thing for books. You have to think like the algorithm in these platforms and be like, what is the book or some topic or some interest that you have that could get you hooked, something that you're truly interested in, and go do that. It doesn't matter what kind of book it is. I don't even care if it's a novel. And then what might eventually happen, and this is something that Naval Ravikant talks about, is that eventually as you consume content that you like, you fall in love with the medium itself, with reading. And then once you love the medium, you might naturally start to read all those other books that people talk about that are so important that supposedly you should be reading. But at first, very important. Point number 1, just read things that you like. Be very hardcore with this. Just if you're not truly interested in some book, just completely ignore it. Just focus on that 1% that you're truly interested in. Now, point number 2, and this one is very common and you've probably heard this one, so I don't truly have to explain that much about this one, is to set a fixed reading time. So this one is very simple and you probably already know this. And this is something that also happens with other things. So for example, people with their phones and social media. Yes, it is true that we check social media at random times throughout the day, but very often everyone has a specific time in their day, maybe it's before they go to bed, that they always check their phone. For some people, it might be when they wake up or when they're having lunch or breakfast or whenever. So what you have to do is just the exact same thing, but with reading. Set a fixed time so that it's always that's going to be present. It's not going to be a variable and every single day it's going to happen. Now, by the way, contrary to what some people believe, I think it's better to do it earlier in the day, because then you can start the day the right way. It's something like you can check it off and it has a positive domino effect into some other areas in your life. But now, point number 3, and I think this is the most interesting one that I haven't heard that many people talk about this, and it's actually the opposite from number 2. Just read at random times throughout your day. Going to the logic that I was saying before, like in the same way that you also check your phone randomly throughout the day, do the same thing, but with reading. Randomly read, because you have to break this belief that you can only sit down to read if you have like a minimum of 20 minutes or 30 minutes or even 1 hour. Even if you literally only have 5 minutes or 1 minute, it's okay. Like just do it. It's completely fine. And if you're doing it throughout the day, and once you've done this for a while and you get used to it, there will be a part of your brain that is always engaged on that book that you're currently reading, and it will be very, very easy to jump right into this book. Like within seconds, you can just get immersed into it. The reason why a lot of people, when they want to get into reading, it feels like it takes like 10 minutes minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes until they can finally focus and start to understand what the book is talking about and all of these things. The reason why it happens is because you just don't do it often. But once you get used to doing this and you're reading a book that you're interested in, it's gonna be very easy. So if you apply these 3 things and you read things that you like, you have a set fixed reading time, and also you're reading at random times throughout your day, over time, and I don't think it's gonna take that long, honestly, if you actually do this, you can start to build a solid reading habit. In a way, you can get addicted to reading. And as with everything, the more you do it, the easier it's gonna be to keep on doing it. But if you manage to build the habit, do not take it for granted and keep on working on it, because it can come easily. You can build the habit more easily than you think, but you can also break it and destroy it very, very quickly. So anyways, that's it for this video. I hope it was helpful. Subscribe, go watch some of my other videos, and I will see you on the next one. Take care. Peace.